Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the weekly energies in today's Monday's Musings. And I'm just a little bit distracted actually. As you can see, I've moved my room around for those that watch the regular videos. And changing the angle has changed the light, but it's also changed how I view myself, which is going to be the biggest emphasis this week if ever there was one. Now, let's break it down. My eyes are being drawn to a book by Jonathan Kaner and Carl Ryder called The Psychic Explorer. And that really feels like that's where we're at this week. Really looking at how we investigate, how we explore, how we navigate these real deep psychic energies that are available. Yes, we have the new moon in Cancer, but the sun is in Cancer as well. And it feels really poignant to recognise, obviously you will be seeing this on the new moon, the day of the new moon in the UK, but to recognise that is our masculine and our feminine both in this energy, this nurturing, mothering, emotional space that is going to really help us look at where we are and where we want to go. So let's try and make some kind of sense out of it. And it's going to be, my eyes are now drawn to The Sword and the Grail, a book about King Arthur, and it's going to very much be about our mental connection. So think the sword, the Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Cups, the Grail, our mental connection in alignment with our spiritual heart this week, okay, on a soul level. And it is helpful to pause, to listen and look at where our direction is being taken this week. So now I'm looking at counselling skills. Really, really important to listen to what is going on and to really look at where our focus is going. So I've changed the angle of my room. And the reason that I did that was I'm trying to make my room something for everybody. So a space where I can work, a space where I can create, a space where I can do my own meditative practices, but also teach the Moon Aiki and things like that. And it's working at the moment, but I am acutely aware that I'm going to need more room. Okay, I'm acutely aware that for now it is incredible, but I'm going to need to expand, which is something we're all going to face this week. Where we are is great, but always growth. And when we can next week, this week, taking a pause, taking a breather, moving things around to accommodate our needs, knowing that by doing so, we are expanding. Knowing by doing so, we are opening ourselves up. We are making more space for whatever needs to come through. And recognizing that that may be why we don't move things around. Because we know this. Yeah, we know that if we make more room, if we can go into that more centered, listening type psychic energy, if we really intuitively connect, then we're going to get the answers that we want, that we've been asking for. But that often comes with direction and a real look at where we're focused and where we're committed to change, where we're in alignment and where we're not. And that is really going to come to the forefront next week with the Cancerian new moon, because the sun's in Cancer as well. So we're going to get those shadow aspects really coming to light. We're going to get the light and the dark showing us where they are united and perhaps where we may not be, where we may be embracing more of the light aspect, pushing away the darkness, or the other way around. And I can say the other way around for myself, most definitely. Shadow work intrigues me. But yeah, really looking at where we may not be quite in balance. And the impact that that has on how we see ourselves. So by moving things around in this room, but also metaphorically, how I see myself has really changed. So the angle here is a far more flattering angle than the one that I had over there. Not that I really pay much attention, but I can see that now. I can see by moving things around, I'm getting a better version, a better image of myself, a truer example of myself. My hair also looks like it's been dyed. I can't see all the greys. Again, not that that matters. And I'm actually really looking forward to embracing those silver strands of wisdom in my hair. But the whole perspective has changed just by moving things around. Now, that really feels like key because I'm being drawn to look at the complete book of the hand. I was going to say of the heart, of the hand. It really feels like key. If we can move things around and change our perspective, it's going to impact what it is we give and what it is we receive as a result. There are two lots of cards that I'm going to work with. One is the Light Seers Tarot, but the other one is a deck that I haven't really used. And they're more oracle cards. And they're called The Gospel of Aradia by Stacey DeMarco. Now, just looking into these, I've been very drawn to the hand fasting on the back and the blue angel. I can really feel the presence of Archangel Michael as well in regards to cutting certain cords that we may not be aware of, that we have initiated with others also. The reason being, when I did briefly look at these cards, I picked two, and I don't know what they mean, but one was to do with curses and one was to do with the masculine. And there was something there about being very aware of our actions and the impact and the rebound that is occurring as a result. Our simple actions. And what's really coming to light this morning in particular, a couple of things. Firstly, I have my noise cancelling headphones in, so I'm not aware if I'm shouting or if I'm whispering, but what I am aware of is my own voice. I can hear my own voice, and in that I can hear my own wisdom, I can hear my own tone, I can hear where I'm coming from. That's really going to be important, particularly as we go into the Lion's Gate. But for now, with the new moon, really feeling how our emotions affect our ability to communicate, not with others, but with ourselves. If we were a song, how would we sound? Would you want to listen to it? Would it make you feel good? Would it make you feel low? Would it make you feel held? Would it make you feel excitable? Really this week, really tuning into the sound that is coming from our heart and what is being reflected in our voice. Is it in alignment? Okay. And to do that, we need to listen to ourselves. So I'm actually doing this video early. And the reason I'm doing it early is because on Monday with the new moon, I am going to spend time being with my womb space, doing womb massage, feeding my womb rights, doing some steaming, doing some intentions, some clearing, really holding myself accountable as the guardian of this sacred vessel. So I thought I saw something. Okay. Why? Because where I am, where I've moved, where I've changed my direction here, I'm acutely aware of a ceiling just above my head that I have put here. Okay, I have done this by moving things around. I have placed myself beneath a ceiling that I need to be aware of. Okay, so for me, Monday, I'm going to be clearing anything that stands in the way of how I see myself, that stands in the way of how I create, that actually needs to now be released, to be cleansed, to really take some time out and nurture my light, which is what this new moon in Cancer is offering us before we walk through the Lion's Gate portal. You know, we have that opportunity to kind of come out, not quite ready, come out, not quite ready. Be very aware of the ceiling that we've put on our own abilities and see them, nurture them, work with them, not get rid of them, not direct them at others. That's the other thing that's coming up. When we look at things and we want things, really being aware how we're responding to that. Are we looking at things with envy, with lust? And these are all recognizable emotions, but what is the energy behind it? Is it gnarly? Is it a bit bitter? Yeah, what are we actually sending out? Because the curses card in this deck in particular was to do with the evil eye. And we can actually give the evil eye to people, ourselves included, with our thoughts and with our energy by thinking, oh, that person, being acutely aware of that this week. Really by listening to the communication that we're having with ourselves and that we're having with our body. Okay, it's not to say, oh, you've been doing this, this and this, and you're going to be cursed and blah, blah, blah. Being aware of how we curse ourselves. Okay, be very aware of how we curse ourselves. So my name is Kirsty, and my mother would hate it if anybody shortened it, because to shorten my name is curse or cursed. So she would really hate that. But ironically, It was the name that she gave me, and it was going to always be shortened by people. Okay, so there are always going to be people out there that can get to where we think we want to be quicker, or that can achieve things. And it's really about, I'm looking at a time of gifts here, a book. It's really about seeing that for the gift that it is, the inspiration, not the comparison that it can be. Okay, it's not about that person's there, I'm here, woe is me, it's going to take me forever, because that's going to really change our energy. It's more about, wow, look at that. I would love to do my version of that. And that's going to be key. I would love to do my version of that. If we are committing to someone else's journey, we are not going to be embodied in it. We are not going to enjoy it. And our soul is going to say, whoa, yeah, that psychic explorer, you've got really caught up in that river. And although it's part of the big stream, this is where we need to direct you. Okay, so really seeing that opportunity as a chance to see where you are on your own journey. This week in particular, being aware of what you can do and really strengthening that, bringing back your energy from what you can't do, because there's a reason you can't do it. And the truth of the matter is, whether we like it or not, that reason is valid. So whether we don't feel prepared, whether physically we're not up to par, whether it's not actually meant for us, whatever that may be, whether we're self-sabotaging, whatever, it's a real good week to trust your body for what it's showing you. It's a real good week to trust the process, whatever that may be, by focusing on what you can do. Bringing back all of that expenditure, all of that. I almost see people trying to trade and it just not working. When you travel the world and you bring your gifts and they're just not wanted, bring them back, bring that energy back to focus on where you are needed in your own growth as well, and commit to it. Distractions help us to not commit. Right? Distraction. Oh, I'm busy with this. Oh, I'm busy with that. And that's not to say that we're not. But at the end of the day, we can say, okay, I need to take time for this, this, and this. It is down to us to commit to our own journey and our own path. And that path can be helping others find theirs. But it's going to be far more constructive and solid if you found your own direction first. Okay? Find your own direction, and then help others find theirs. So, focusing on what you can do. An example, I've signed up for a 28-day yoga program. I cannot do yoga. I cannot do yoga. But I'm giving it my best shot. And it isn't about, there are moves that I'm quite surprised I've managed to in my own way perform, and there are those that are just totally out of my not just out of my comfort zone, out of my zone, out of my capability. Realistically, it's like a million miles away from where I'm at, but that's okay, because that inspires me. It doesn't frustrate me, it inspires me. And underneath it, I have the surprise of the things that I can do. But underneath all of that, I have the truth that I have promised and committed to 28 days, for however long it takes during that day, to do these exercises. For 28 days to be with my body, to listen to what it can do, to inspire to what it wants to do, to breathe and truly start to manifest that. And that's the other thing that's coming through before I look at the cards. A full circle. What's that? I'm looking at a Pink Floyd book, Behind the Wall. Okay. A full circle of magic and manifestation and what that truly means to you. And it's going to be a different journey for everybody. An example, a lot of pagan books are drawing my attention lately. Now, this was when I was a wee nipper, a teenager, really just involved with magic from that perspective. And the journey has been a beautiful, full, ripe, creative experience. And I'm coming back full circle to even down to these cards, the Gospel of Aradia, very, very pagan looking cards, coming full circle to that energy, that seed within me. Okay, so really recognizing that this week and knowing that there is a full completion of what it is we are trying to manifest, and it may be in a completely different direction, and being open to that. Okay, so setting the intention with the new moon, by all means, putting in the work. And I'm going to say the work. Okay, so the moment we set an intention, we don't sit back and just expect it all to fall in our lap, but equally we don't have to do it all. It's that fine balance, and that's different for everybody. Okay, it's that fine balance of I'm intuitively being called to do this. All that, the only structure we all share the same is whether or not we're in alignment with that. Okay, so making sure you're in alignment with your actions intuitively this week is going to be key. It's going to give you that fine balance to achieve what it is you're trying to set your mind and your body and your soul to. You set the intention, you do the steps, let go of the outcome. Okay, really let go of the outcome. And this week we are going to get full circle, and we are going to be encouraged to look at what we actually don't want to take forward, to make space as a result for what we do, to have compassion if we're not ready to do that, because it might be something completely different. It might really get us to push through this ceiling. It might take a level of commitment that we're not actually used to also, and that can be time, that can be energy, that can be belief in yourself. Whatever that commitment is, listen to the tone of it. It will call you out, it will excite you and probably petrify you all in one go. But listen to yourself, listen to the voice that is coming through you for the guidance that you now need, and then let go of the outcome. Trust and remain open. So no small task this week. No small task this week. Okay, so how do we best do that? Okay, my eyes are being drawn to a book called Fate and Fortune, so trusting that, but also trusting the fates, trusting your ability to gain the riches, the experiences of trusting that. But also I'm looking at Know Yourself Through Colour, and the Archangel Metatron deck as well, calling upon your guides, your angels, your higher self, your ancestors, whatever it is that you have put faith into, that is on a different level from where you're at, your future self, calling upon that this week and really opening yourself up to the assistance that you've asked for. We've all asked for so much help, but if we could see, what's that, modern palmistry, if we could see how open our hands actually are to receiving that, it would be a whole other ball game. Okay, so with that in mind, now my eyes are dotting everywhere. I'm looking at books in regards to cognitive neuroscience and hemisphere asymmetry and fibromyalgia and the Celestine vision, and there is a real huge potential of balancing both aspects of our brain, the left and the right, the creative, intuitive and the doing, the masculine and the feminine. But also I'm acutely aware of the full moon that's coming, not the new moon that we haven't even had yet, but the full moon that is coming. I'm looking at the Magdalene Oracle after the Feast of Mary Magdalene, which is the 22nd, after we've gone into Leo season, but actually arrives on the day of harvest, the pagan day of harvest. So really being aware of everything that we clear now, everything that we're releasing now is going to be so worthwhile in such a short period of time. Okay, but just taking time for that, investing in that, it really needs that. It really needs that commitment, whether it's time, whether it's belief, whether it's structure, whatever it may be. That one thing, that one thing we've been avoiding, that one thing we say we can't give, really, really committing to that this week is going to have the quickest, shortest, most profound results, because it's the one thing that's been holding us back all this time. Okay. Right. So let's avert our eyes. Let's center. Let's listen, because there is the potential that it can get a bit full on. There's a lot of noise this week. There's a lot of yearnings, desires, wants, frustrations, emotions. Yeah. We call them all these different things, but they're emotions. I could have said lust, greed, envy, joy, happiness, sadness. It's emotions. There's a lot of emotions. At the Queen of Wands at the bottom. Okay, and all of these emotions are giving us the opportunity to find our own spark, to find what helps light us up, how we help light others up, what level we're coming from, how nurturing we're being of this incredible connection to our soul, because that's what emotions are. They connect us to each other, they connect us to our soul, they connect us to the landscape around us, they connect us, yes, to our body. Okay, how well do we nurture these this week? That's really going to come to light, and it's a bit overwhelming because we're all being asked to do it and it's like, no, I want you to do it for me. We have the Six of Swords here, but yeah, no one is going to take us through these emotions. That's up to us to learn how to navigate that psychic explorer, that psyche energy. It's really up to us to look at that and to recognize the wisdom that we have gained that is calling us forward. Okay, this deep inner transformation that has got us this far, that will continue to guide us forward, and seeing ourselves from a different angle this week is going to be key. Really seeing ourselves as this intuitive mystic type energy. Don't know where that came from. It could be a book, watch this space, but a real intuitive mystic type energy that is guiding us forward this week. Okay, but it all comes down to emotions, and that it's really, really important to go within, avert our eyes from the overwhelm. All I can see is a big eye now. Avert our eyes from the overwhelm, go into the inner eye, the inner I. Okay, so yes, we all talk about the I am, but we seem to have forgotten the I, the I aspect, who we are in the I am, and that's really going to come to the forefront this week with our emotions. Okay, so the other thing I was going to share is the reason I have these headphones. It makes so much sense being the operative word. I have finally realised that everything on my body is a noise, whether it's smell, whether it's emotions, whether it's empathy, whether I'm feeling other people, whether I'm tracking, whether it's actual noise, whether all of it is a sound to my body. And when it comes to the fibromyalgia, this is where I see the hemisphere in the fibromyalgia book. When it comes to the fibromyalgia, the noises can become quite intense, and that can make my skin almost burn. It make me very overly sensitive. And this week that is going to come to light. But it's time to start seeing this as a gift. Okay, it's time to start seeing this as the recognition of what it is. You know, I have moved my desk into the space of the West, which is Otorongo, which is the tracker. We are trackers of energy, and it's time to really become responsible for that now, to really see it for the gift that it is, but the impact that we can make in our own lives and that of others if we just listen to ourselves throughout it all. Okay. Right. So let's bring that energy down, because when we start to realise that, oh, card just flew out. Okay. When we start to realise that, we start to become aware of our own abilities. That ceiling, starts to move further and further and further away from us, and we start to really see where we could go and our true magic, and that can be quite profound. And what I really felt was my heart space and solar plexus trying to open up, and my throat now. The moment we acknowledge what we feel, our throat opens to communicate this, and to communicate it to others, but also ourselves. And that can wobble our safety and our comfort zone, because I can feel almost as if the root chakra isn't big enough. Okay, and that is a perspective. It is big enough. And what I'm noticing is I'm finding myself sat in the position of Kuan Yin. It is big enough, and it's about having that forgiveness, that nurture, that love for ourselves when it all feels a bit much, because what we're being reminded of is where we are and how we're not quite seeing our beauty and our potential. Because the card that fell out was justice. Okay, really looking at our own reflection here, really looking at our own divine connection and our own power to say that was then, this is now. I am the restorer of balance to my own well-being, to my own life, to my own circumstances. And from there we have the star card. We're always connected to that higher vision. It's us that can often not see it. Okay, so really this week finding ways to reflect that back in our actions, because the other book that was between the brain book and the fibromyalgia book and the Celestine vision was good vibes, good life. Okay, so really recognizing when we may not feel in alignment with that higher vision, and adapting, adjusting accordingly, bringing the balance. But to do so, we feel. To do so, we must be aware. Okay, and that really feels like key this week. The emotions are going to bring to light. Again, I'm being drawn to the sword and the grail. The emotions are going to bring to light where we may mentally not be in alignment with our heart, or our heart may not be in alignment with what is mentally possible at the moment. And there's no judgment there. If we don't feel up to the vision, it's okay. Have some compassion. That can be the game changer. That can be the ultimate heart opener, because we have the 9 of Cups here. Okay. So now my eyes are being drawn to soulmates. Let's take a breather. And it's interesting because it's the one time after I saw the book Soulmates, I started to look around and search. Like searching for the answers, searching for the messages in regards to soulmates. Okay, so inner eye, go within, listen, trust your body. And when I say soulmates, I don't mean just I don't mean relationships connected to romance alone. I don't mean family alone. I don't mean I mean it all. Yeah, I mean it all. I mean our employment, I mean our family, I mean our relationships with food, with people, with life, with spirituality. I mean us as our own soulmate. Rather than looking outside, that's not to say that there aren't soulmates out there, okay? But recognizing being the mate to our own soul, the masculine and the feminine this week, guys, is huge. Being the mate to our own soul is going to put everything else in alignment, but we must listen. We must listen to the conversations that we're having with ourselves. These conversations that we don't have time for this, or we're going to start eating healthy and I can take this on board myself, but actually tonight I'll have a takeaway. What conversations are we actually saying to ourselves? How committed are we to that vision? Because it is up to us to bring that balance now. It is up to us to go, do you know what? I want these things in my life. I want to be whatever it is. And to do that, I need to do da-da-da-da-da. Okay, and just being real, getting real. Because underneath it, we do have the 5 of Pentacles in regards to what it is we desire, what it is we are hoping for. You know, that feeling of it's just not coming. And underneath we have the 10 of Swords. Actually, it's right there. It's right over the peak of this new moon in Cancer. You know, as we start to really walk through that towards the Lion's Gate, it's right there. But we must walk through. We must make that decision that was then. Okay, and really decide what mentality we are going to take forward. And to do that, it is about feeling our emotions. We can push them to one side. We can silence them. You know, but they're going to come back in different ways until we acknowledge whatever it is they need to say to us. Okay, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be look up. Look up, you have the key. I am the key. How you feel is the key here. Okay, but it is about really opening our heart to that treasure this week. Okay, right, so let's break it down day by day, because we are 28 minutes in. And for the first time in a long time, that feels key, the time. You know, it does feel key, like we give ourselves time for these emotions, however long it takes, but also recognizing when we're done. Recognizing when we're done and, you know, getting down to brass tacks. That's what I hear, you know, getting down to the facts as well. Okay, I feel this and it's from here and this is what I need. Now what? Okay. Almost treating our emotions as a sacred treat. So, you know, when I'm grieving my mother, there was a huge moment in my grief process where all I wanted to do was cry, and that worked for me. That was perfect. And you know, it would take over days of my life, longer sometimes. Now, at the part of the process I'm in, I gift myself a couple of hours to do what I need to do, to have that compassion, to be with what I feel, and then I continue with whatever needs to be done in my life. Now, I'm not suggesting or advocating that we rush the process, but I am suggesting that you recognize where you are in the process. Are you right at the beginning of it? Are you in the middle of it? Or have you come to the end of that now? And adjusting your time and the energy that you invest in that accordingly. Because that's where the balance is. Okay, the Two of Pentacles. That's where the balance is. And that comes from knowing where we are. And that comes from listening. Okay? It comes from feeling. Right. Yes. We don't want to take on too much with the Ten of Wands this week, and there is that potential underneath it all. So how do we avoid that? We break down the days. We break down things into structure, what's possible. What I hear is the SWOT analysis, or the SMART goals. Yeah, has to be measurable, has to be achievable, has to be realistic, it has to be specific to what you want, and there has to be targets that you can actually reach there this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I do want that one. Okay. Overall. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is going to go by in a flash. Okay. And it can almost be like, and there's going to be some heel digging because of that. With that new moon energy, it can feel like it's going to come through so quickly. And there's a real sense of feeling out of control, of overstretching our solar plexus here, of almost pulling a muscle as a result. So watch that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So just breathe and pause, taking that time. Okay, because on the Monday, really important with the Two of Swords that we take time to go within. Close that eye, go into the internal eye. Okay, now I want to show you the card that I did want this week, and that's the Death card. And what happens when we close that eye? We go in to the star vision here. Okay, when we shut off, when we end what is going on in front of us, even if it's for a split second, we take stock, we find peace, we can then open our eyes with more clarity. I started to do restorative yoga a week or so ago, might be a bit longer, and you know, throughout the practice the teacher guided us to close our eyes, and she put a cover over my eyes, just like this one, and my head was like, oh, what's the point of this, da, 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 da. You know, and I witnessed it and I listened. And when we finished, the teacher suggested that we take the cloth off really slowly, that we have our head down, and that we be aware of the impact of the light, the noises, whatever, when we open our eyes. Something I always guide others through. But it wasn't until I opened my eyes that I realised how aggressive some of the senses externally can be. So this week, if it all becomes a bit much, particularly at the beginning of the week, take a moment, close your eyes, not while you're driving or walking or anything like that, but stand still, be still, because that's what it does. Yeah, when we close our eyes, we don't know, so we have to stop. That gives us peace. Pausing gives us peace. In the moments of indecision, pause, listen, close your eyes if you have to what's going on around you for a split second. I know there's a lot of guidance externally at the moment about how people are putting their head in the sands or they're closing their eyes, and we can almost be berated for not wanting to get involved. We can almost be berated for taking 5 minutes out, for putting our needs first, for saying, actually, in order for me to hold space, I need to strengthen my own resolve, and I'm struggling. Especially in the spiritual community, we can almost be berated like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not covering this, you're not talking about that. It's okay for everybody to say, it's a bit much, let me catch my breath. We shouldn't even need to catch our breath if I'm being truly honest here. It's an ongoing process that's, totally out of our control. But if we're feeling like we're out of breath, pause. In the pauses, Metatron once showed me the binary code, the 101010, like a drum beat, like an in-breath and an out-breath, okay? And it's the pauses in between the 1 and the 0. Yeah, it's like a Morse code to the universe. It's like banging a drum, okay? We can really feel this week as if we're going on, and we're just banging this drum for the sake of it. Stop. Feel the impact of that vibration. Allow it to return to you. Let it be a dual conversation instead of just talking to yourself. You know, if it's all a bit much, pause. Let the energy respond. Let it help you with the decision. It's one thing to ask. Wait for an answer. Wait for an answer. And, you know, it does almost feel as if, well, I have waited and nothing has come through. We haven't waited without expecting what that answer will be, which means we've given ourselves our own answer. We haven't waited and truly opened up. We haven't waited in our I presence. We haven't, you know, again, we say about the I am, we haven't acknowledged the I part of that. This week, particularly on the Monday, it is about aligning to that. It is about taking time and having peace with aligning to that. Stepping away from the situation. Okay, taking a moment, because on the Tuesday we are asked to make some decisions. Our first major arcana, we have the Lovers, and this is that soulmate energy on the Tuesday. It can be twin flames, it can be relationships. And I felt quite deflated with that, like, oh gosh. Okay, and that is some of my own perspective, that the soulmate energy has been so constricted. Okay, the soulmate energy has been so, it's just relationships, it's just this, it's just that. But actually it is about being a mate to the soul. Okay, now the soul is limitless. Okay, so Tuesday we're being asked to remember that when it comes to what it is we're looking for in employment, in relationships, all of it. Is it in alignment with what is best for our soul growth? We might not want it to be. We might think, oh gosh, I'd much rather have the easier stuff. I don't want to grow, I don't want to be stretched. Okay, and that's okay, but acknowledge it. Acknowledge, you know, actually I'm manifesting from this level because I'm not ready for that. And that's there's no judgment there. But at least then when you get what you receive, you can say, I asked for this. I asked for what I am receiving. Okay. And that, yeah, of course, that could cause some triggers. All right. And this week, being very aware of that, being very aware of backlash from others. It's that evil eye type energy, and not keeping ourselves protected as such, but just being aware, just being aligned, really recognizing what is being offered to us and what it is we are giving back as a result. Because on the Wednesday, we have the Knight of Cups. Okay. Romance is great. Is it sustainable? Or what you have may be sustainable, but where's the romance? Really going into the heart and looking at what it is you want this week. And there's confusion there. There's real confusion there, which is why it's great on the Monday and particularly throughout the week to take those pauses to make any decisions. Okay. Come the Thursday, when we want things to start to slow down, they're actually going to speed up. And that is going to almost cause I don't want this change. I want to stay with how things are. Actually, I'm not ready. And it's normal, guys. It's perfectly normal. If I had £1 for every person in transition that says, no, I'm done. I'll come back. I'll deliver tomorrow. I don't want to do this anymore. I've changed my mind. Okay. It's that moment of, this is going to happen. It's that moment of you're releasing what was. It's, we can call it egoic death and everything else, but actually with compassion, it's a perfectly normal part of growth. Okay. So trusting your ability to move at a rate that is right for you is going to really help on the Thursday or Friday. If you feel as if you're being rushed, genuinely rushed, pause. Find your stability, because on the Saturday and Sunday we're being asked to do that. We're being asked to recognize that it was always about that. Always about our connection to the earth, always about how we nurture our physical body, our stability, our worth on a very grounded level. But on the Thursday and Friday, we're going to be tested with that. Okay, so on the Monday, we learnt about pausing, hopefully, and we made choices from that, and we recognized how we were being answered from the level that we were at. Okay, Thursday and Friday, that's going to speed things up. That's going to realign us. And we're going to be asked if we're truly ready to let that go. Okay. Take time. Nothing's changed. It may feel as if it's shifted, but nothing has changed. Take time. It's just our ability to stand in that momentum. Yes, I just want to do that. Dance, whatever. It's just our ability to mentally be okay with what is going on, because we do have the Knight of Swords here. But we also have the Four of Pentacles, and they do go hand in hand, or we may believe that they go hand in hand. Yes, thank you. It is our belief that we have to keep charging forward and do. And its relation to our physical worth, be it money, job, soulmate, whatever, that we're being really asked to examine. How stable is that? How much of a foundation has that actually gifted us this week? Because on the Saturday and Sunday, we have the Page and the Queen of Pentacles. And we are being asked to grow up. But in order to do that, to do so in a nurturing way, to recognise that every step is valuable. Every lesson, everything that we discover is all part of our ability to remain connected, to become the creators that we're being asked to become. Yes, on the Saturday we can get a new insight, a new physical beginning. But what I'm really feeling drawn to recognise, I'm looking at the Celtic Myths and Legends book above me and the Time of Gifts again. What I'm being drawn to really recognise here is that every stage is a new beginning. It's all how we nurture it. And this weekend it's really going to come to light. And that is going to almost help us reflect on the whole week, but also again throughout the week. The smell. Again throughout the week, I'm just remembering that Tuesday my cesspit is being emptied, and it's on the day we have the Lovers. Okay, so really again throughout the week we're being asked to really look at what it is we don't want to take forward anymore. And we may look back with fondness and think, oh yeah, but I learnt that, and oh yeah, and that's great, that's absolutely beautiful. But if we're having to explain to ourselves why something has happened, we haven't truly accepted it or embodied it. If we're finding reason, mental rationale for something, then it becomes bigger than it needs to be on a soul level here. Things can just be as they were, as part of the experience of life that brings us back into harmony, okay, because we have the Six of Cups here. But we do have the Five of Wands underneath. Everything is there to help us grow. Everything is there to help us realign and to start to reach through that ceiling. Okay, but underneath it all, we have the Queen of Wands. Don't forget who you are in every single stage. Don't forget the light that it has brought, that you are being asked to bring to others also. When my cesspit gets emptied on Tuesday, my husband then also needs to unblock it because it's got so much paper in there. Sorry, this is a bit crude, but everything is relevant. And again, this week there may be things that are like, oh God, really? But they're going to be relevant. It's full of paper. It's full of, the wiping away of what we don't want. So this week, yes, we are being asked to move forward. Yes, we are being asked to grow like we always are. Yes, we are being asked to feel like we always are, to align to our greatest potential like we always are. But we're being also asked to look at the tools that we have used to help us do that. How many of them need to actually come through with us? How many of them do we actually need to take forward? Are there new things that we want to learn? Are there new gifts that we want to share? As we build this story of who we are. Okay, so let's break it down. I was going to say we have two major arcanas, but right at the bottom of the pack, not the bottom, staring at me actually, we have Temperance. So we have three major arcanas here. And that's when I find myself drawn to the clock. Running out of time. No. Chop wood, carry water. Know that the sun and the moon are in are new and are in the sign of Cancer. I had to really think, where are they? Where's the light? Where's the darkness? Know that everything is actually aligning, that there is time, okay? And it's only when we feel lost that we can question how much time we've got, or how much time something is taking, or even how much time we are willing to offer. So if we're finding ourselves stretched this week, if we're finding ourselves unable to commit for whatever reason, really going into that and looking at how focused we are, how driven we are, how lost we may feel. Okay, so really bearing that in mind, because we have 3 major arcanas and it is the ability to create something different now. There are choices to be made on a soul level, on a soulmate level. Yes, in relationships, but also with our relationship with our own soul, our own potential, which could have changed. You know, it's one thing to see our potential. It's one thing to see the potential of another, but it's another to recognise that it's up to us if we want to fulfil that. Okay, and it's up to the individual if they want to fulfill that. Okay, and this week really looking at where we may have based our choices on the journey of others and bringing it back and taking a good long listen to ourselves. A quick example, I was moving the furniture around in my little room at my husband's shop this week because I felt like I was in the way. He was trying to get the rubbish bin out and he couldn't get out the door, and I felt like I was in the way, and it was this old narrative that was coming up, you know, get out the way, let people have their path, their, you know, whatever. And as I moved the furniture around, I broke one of my sound bowls. I only have the 3: third eye, heart and the womb. Because in the traditions that I practice, that is to be of wisdom, of love and of service. And I broke the wisdom. I broke the third eye bowl, or at least I believe it's the third eye bowl. And what really came to light for me was, where am I breaking the vision of my own potential by these old stories, by believing that I'm in the way, by it being an inconvenience? This week we're being really asked to look at that, to close our eye, to recognise our role in everything, to really go in and look at what it is we are trying to achieve and how committed we are to that, and to really look at what needs to end now in relation to that, whether or not we still want what we thought we wanted. Because sometimes things come in a way that we least expect, but they're actually what we wanted. And if we can recognise that, then we can stop trying to manifest what we've already got. Okay, so like an example, give an example. I wanted to hold space for the Moon Key, and I believed it had to be in a particular place, and it had to be outside, and it had to be this and that, and da, da, da. And actually I stopped getting in my own way and just started to run the Moon Key from my home. It's something that I want. I'm doing it already. There's no point me asking for that, because it's already happening. Okay, so this week really looking at where we're being asked to expand and where we're being asked to let go. There is a difference. There really is a difference. And I'm saying that as I'm holding on to the 10 of Swords and the 10 of Wands, and, you know, really look at what we are holding on to here, mentally and from a soul contract level as well, in regards to relationships and what we do and what we're asking for, and our potential, the vision that we thought we had for ourselves, because we've many times over actually achieved it. So really recognizing that this week and looking at what it is we're holding on to in regards to that, because it all comes down to worth at the end of the day. It does feel related to the inner child. It does feel related to how we allow ourselves to experience life and the harmony that is available, by knowing that half the things that we hold on to comes from our belief that we have to, that we should, oh really we should do that, and that judgment on ourselves. So I'm noticing this week a lot of background noise, a lot of repetitive stories coming to light. An example, my cat this morning, she is very entitled, very demanding. She knows what she wants, and that's great. And she will let rip until she gets it. She will call and call and call. She has gone deaf, so obviously she can't hear herself call, and there's something in that. Again, going back to the listening. But this morning, because she calls the loudest, because she makes the most noise, she gets listened to, she gets what she wants. And my dog often gets fed last as a result, because he sits there patiently. I can relate to that. I can really relate to that, and an old wound within me. And this morning I just thought, I can relate. I don't have to be part of it. The amount of times that I feed my cat first because I feel guilty. Oh, but she really wants it. And then I feel bad for my dog. And it's like, do you know what? Do what's right for you this week. Be very aware of the noise that is going to keep calling us in, wanting us to interact, and know that if you really don't want to, that's okay. This ceiling can be put there by others as well. Okay, so if we really want that change this week, closing our eyes, going within, looking at what we offer, looking at what we're willing to receive based on that, moving forward in a more slow, progressive, structured fashion that allows us to see that every step that we've taken has grounded us into the nurturing creator we are being asked to be. Okay, so I think that's that on that. I was going to look into more and count down the cards, and it's not needed. So we're going to do one card because that was planned from this beautiful, beautiful deck, the Gospel of Aradia. Okay, you just see her there. Actually looks like Isis and the High Priestess. I will have the book to hand because I've not worked with these decks yet. Okay, although I'm now being drawn to the book above my eyes called Solitary Witchcraft, recognising what we have been working with, often unknown. There's two cards trying to come out every time. Right, one card. How funny. So curses has come back up again. Okay, so this card has come out 3 times now when I've just been dabbling, if you will, and that feels like key. This week is not a week to dabble anymore. It's to really, when we think, oh, I think I want such and such, the universe goes, okay, I'm going to show you everyone that's got that. Oh, create storage space. I'm going to show you everyone that's got that. And it does. And then because we're uncertain, it's like, really being aware of the energy that we're giving off as a result. Don't dabble with what you want. If you want it, go after it this week, because otherwise what that does is bring an energy back that's like nothing is being achieved. I'm being blocked. This is being stopped. This person's got really, really looking at that this week and the impact that it's having on the feminine and our ability to create, making space for that by looking at what we store. Just trying to look at what that is. So I'm going to look into these quickly, but I am very aware of the time because it may, the video may cut out. So let's have a little look. So it's still going at the moment. So curses. Take responsibility, yes, of course, for the energy that you send out. Every action causes a reaction. Can an issue be reconciled with love and understanding rather than with hatred and revenge? Someone may have cast negative energy upon you, or you may have with a pattern that you need to break. And that's the key, isn't it? You know, we can, I won't look into the rest of that. We can really look at, this person has put negative energy on me, I need to cut this on it. And yes, absolutely. But we need to be aware of the patterns that we are continuing and the impact that that's having not only on our life, but those to come. Okay, our ancestry. Really looking at where we need to break that cycle. So, an example, if we have an ancestry that is very much into giving but not receiving, that doesn't nurture themselves very well, and we can see that continually happening, we can then say, everyone puts on me. Or we can say, I need time out for myself and I need to stop this now. So that we then don't give begrudgingly, which gives with a little bit of a curse energy underneath it, a little bit of a negative energy underneath it. And we can then look at what it is we receive and we can cut that. We can finish that curse that is then no longer inherited down the family line. Okay, really, really being aware of that and the impact that it has on the feminine here. Now the feminine, it's funny, I landed on sisterhood. Okay. Truth. So, the feminine. Do not be afraid of the feminine form or naturally feminine ways. You can be powerful and still feminine. Seek quality. Forget the current restrictions of sexual roles. They limit everyone. There is no need to push forcefully for what you want. Be the best that you can be and attract what you need. There's a lot going on at the moment in regards to gender. There's a lot going on in regards to the feminine in particular and her role in society and how that's being construed, confused, misinterpreted. Okay, so I want to go back over that. Forget the current restrictions of sexual roles as they limit everyone. The masculine can be soft and feminine. The feminine can be strong and dominant. They mix, they merge, like the sun and the moon this week, both being in Cancer. They have that backwards, forwards motion. Okay, they are united. They are the soulmate. Even by restricting sexuality, and sexual roles and genders, we are restricting the overall feminine here, which encompasses everything. With that in mind, I want to leave you with what this says. To the one that comes from Goddess, to the maiden, to the wife, to the creatrix, to the seductress. Start that again. I knew it was going to cut out, and it cut out, and I had to empty 13 items from my recycling bin on my computer. So 13 items this week, 13 things that you no longer need. Pass them forward, or release them, or whatever. Write them down. 13 things that I no longer need, as you align to the 13 things that you're bringing in as a result. So Monday I will be doing the womb rites, which we do around 13 moons. This is real goddess type energy coming in. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. To the one that comes from Goddess, to the maiden, to the wife, to the creatrix, to the seductress, to the one that bore me life. Clear the path for the power of flowers and of seeds, of pull, not push, of wildness and of bleeds. Okay, so the feminine principles of attraction: pull rather than push collaboration, and power together rather than power over. And it is this that could help solve the problems of many societies today. Whatever you're feeling this week, know that it's yours. Look at how you project it. Look at what you're willing to receive. Is it being gifted to you from an open space, this video included, or do you feel it oppressive, as if it's, really pushing into your energy? Stand firm in your own vibration. Okay, and that in itself is any boundary that's needed. Have the most wonderful, wonderful week, and I shall see you post new moon, where we really look at how to bring it forward for the Lion's Gate. Take care.